Recording.
Alright, back on the scene again. Yet another issue of Functional Kenpo. It's been a while since we've done one. A lot of personal stuff going on. But no, we're not gone yet. We haven't gone anywhere. We haven't stopped the series. I wanted to cover a couple of topics. This weekend we were actually supposed to be at another school. Well, I shouldn't say another school because this ain't no school. We were actually supposed to be at a school this weekend doing a seminar, and it fell through. So the material I wanted to cover, I figured I might as well put it up in some form anyway. One of the things I wanted to cover was more a bit of offensive tips to make your Kenpo offensive instead of defensive, you know. But the technique I want to use to illustrate that is, you know, Kenpo staple, 5 swords, you know, everybody's favorite move. But I realized that other than I think on our video on torque, we never really covered 5 swords. So we're going to cover 5 swords. Now again, if you're new to the series, understand that this isn't a by-the-book series. We're not going exactly by the manuals. We're not going by the book. So if you're one of those people that are offended at the technique not looking exactly the way the book has it written down, stop the video now and go flip through and look at something else because you're going to get offended. I'm not going exactly by the book. Also, by request, I'm wearing a gi this time. I usually wear a hoodie, and I don't know, I guess some people said it was less authentic to not be wearing a karate uniform, at least every now and again. So I'm wearing a karate uniform, I'm wearing my actual belt with my rank on it because people kind of care about that. I don't, which is why I generally wear the gray hoodie all the time. So we're going to get started with 5 swords. We all know that 5 swords is generally taught against it's a right punch. It could be a right roundhouse punch. It could be a right straight punch. It could be a right hook punch. Basically, any outside the inside right attack, you could do 5 swords off of. Basic idea for the initial contact on 5 swords is as the punch is coming in, you have various schools of thought on how to address the hand. You have the block with one hand here and the left hand low. You have the block with both hands blocking at the same time, or you have the block with one hand, the right hand in this case blocking, and the left hand covering. I generally don't block the technique at all. If you've watched some of my videos before, you know that I'm very big on parrying as opposed to blocking whenever possible. I believe that a block in most cases is a good beginner to intermediate defense, but I believe that a parry is better because it allows you to draw the guy in and hit him that much harder. And in case you haven't noticed, by me standing next to my brother Marcus, as usual, and my brother Christian, I'm kind of a small person. As it stands right now today, I'm 5'7", 188 pounds, so I'm not exactly a big guy. So what we're going to do now is address the parry on 5 swords, the parry version. It's basically going to be a double parry. So as the punch is coming in, I'm slipping and drawing it by. When I do that with the right hand, my left hand is not in position yet. So when I come in, it's 1 and 2. The left hand stays on the inside of his wrist. Do not let it track back here because you lose contact of his hand, and now his hand is able to re-engage. So once you knock his hand out of the way and slip it, this hand's going to stay here. The right hand is going to circle from the parry and immediately hit him. I want to hit him on the way in. I want this guy to run into me. I want him to feel like he ran into a damn freight train. So when he's coming in with his punch, I'm coming in to hit him on the way in. Now, a lot of places I've seen do this technique, the arm is hitting by itself, and then they put all the power into the eye poke or the palm or whatever left hand strike they're using. I don't advocate doing that, where you use all of your power on that weapon and hit with the right arm by itself. I advocate taking the torque of you rotating and pulling this hand through and using the power of this shot as well. So instead of getting a 1, 2, it's a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So when you draw them in, it's 1, 2. This shot here, I don't advocate sending the guy's head straight back. I advocate sending his head and his jaw to the side, because I might need to step through and take his space over here. So I want to make sure that I have him turned away from me, and I'm also ready to address his hand. My shoulder's up, I've let this hand go, so I need to have my shoulder up. From here, we know in 5 swords we unwind with an uppercut. Now, what's the specific target on our uppercut? And I apologize for the audio. I know the audio is kind of trash, but you know, we're doing the best we can right now. Instead of just uppercutting this guy anywhere in the gut, I'm not an advocate of just hitting him anywhere. I believe that every shot should register. You know, you have an aggressive mindset, make everything register. That's HAMMER, it's an acronym. So when you come in with your first shot, you know, this is to send his head back. This is to send his head back and turn him. Now the rest of the technique, the way it's taught, is I need to cross back to the other side to hit him with some other shots. If I just gut him here, I might not turn him. So I want to hit him on this side, floating ribs or liver. This is the target we're going for on this side to start the rotation. From here, we'll come to this side. Punch is coming in, pick it up, turn, hit him here. From here, this hand is going to execute. You have, some schools teach us eye slice here, some schools teach a claw, some schools teach a hook and chop. Honestly, I don't care, because this is just a minor setup blow for me in this version of the technique. I'm going to use the hook and chop version. I hook and chop to set his head up. Right where my left hand is, that's where I want to put my right hand. Right where his neck and his skull meet. So if his head was up like this, that little crease, that's my target. So I line this up and descend. I'm not descending because I don't feel like decapitating my brother here. But this shot here, instead of just rotating into the chop, I want you to rotate and settle your weight down with the strike. Your left arm, depending on where his left arm is, you might want to just have it here, or you might actually want to pick his arm up and move his arm to the inside. Another option is to take his arm here if you favor having locks. By now, if you folks have watched any videos I put up before, you know that this lock here is my baby. So that's one of the versions I like to use. It's up to you. All about options, what you're comfortable with, and what the situation gives you. Later on, I'm going to cover a topic I like to cover called signature sequences. Signature sequences are basically sequences of movement and attack combinations that you're intimately familiar with. They're yours. So what you do is you look to find ways of getting into them whenever possible. I'm going to cover that later because we kind of covered this enough. So that's functional 5 swords.